Well, hello! Kendall here for week 4 of our Ode to National Park Sew-Along, hosted by Pat Sloan at her website, ilovetomakequilts.com. If you haven't done so already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have, jump over to Pat's website, download this week's free pattern, come back here, and I'll show you how I do it. As always, we start with all of our pieces cut out as per the pattern, and I have my light fabrics here and the 2 different medium fabrics and the dark fabric as indicated. And we are going to take the larger of our 2 background squares or light fabric squares and the 2 dark squares, and we're going to make half square triangles. We often begin in these videos by making the half square triangles, and to do so we need to draw a diagonal line on the back of our light fabrics from corner to corner. We then match that up with right sides together on the dark fabric. We'll take that to the machine and we'll stitch 1/4 of an inch on each side of our drawn line. With our stitching complete, we'll simply just clip these apart, and I like to give them a press first to set those stitches into the fabric before cutting these in half along that drawn line, and then we're going to press all 4 of these to the darker of our 2 fabrics. With that now done, we just need to trim these down to their final size of 4.5 inches. And as you would know, if you've seen any of my back catalogue of videos, I do this 2 at a time, but you can use whichever your preferred trim down method is. With the 2 at a time method, it is important to make sure that that seam in the middle there is nice and snugly nested so that you are actually trimming accurately, doing it 2 at a time. I take the diagonal there, or the 45-degree line from my ruler, place that on the stitching line. I make sure that there is enough fabric outside the trim down measurement on all 4 sides, and that includes underneath the ruler. We then trim those 2 sides. We rotate that around, and now we can line up our 4.5 inch measurement on those freshly cut sides, making sure that our 45-degree line still follows along our stitching and trimming our final 2 sides. I'll get the other 2 done and we are ready to lay this block out. Ignore what I said before, we're going to start by constructing the top row of this block, and for that we need to take 2 of the half square triangles that we just created and our solid background square that we had cut out from earlier and sew them together as you saw me doing here and as per the pattern. While we've got that going, we will create the 4 patch as well, so we just need to lay our fabrics out in whichever way that we want, and we'll start by sewing those vertical seams. We also need to sew the remaining half square triangles together, and they go in a vertical column as you see me laying out here, making sure to double check with the pattern for the orientation of the triangle, as it is important in creating the final bear paw even look on this block. With all of these done, we will just give them a press. So for that 4 patch in the medium fabrics, we'll press in opposing directions, so towards the darker of the 2 fabrics. And for this one that will create the top row, we'll press towards that solid square, as you see me doing here, before attaching the final half square triangle. So just watch through and see which way I press, and then we'll be ready to sew these all together. After we've sewn those half square triangles onto the right side and in the right orientation, always check back with your pattern. We'll press this towards that fore patch as it is the path of least resistance before attaching that top row. And with our top row now attached, making sure that all of our inner sections nested nicely, we'll just press once again towards that fore patch unit, so towards the bottom of the block. And our block for this week, another easy one, is done. Thanks for joining me for another fun week, folks, and I hope that you can go out there and create this block as easy as I did. If you haven't already done so, I'd love for you to like the video, share it with a friend that you think may be interested. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It is free. Most importantly, though, tickle that little bell icon to be notified of all my future releases so you don't miss a thing. I'll see you all again real soon. Bye for now.